What's good YouTube, Jabbar back with Abdul Aesthetics. And today we're going to talk about another relationship video. Today's topic is when should a relationship end? Now if you're watching this video, I'm pretty sure you've been in more than one relationship, hopefully. But if not, you still could be in a situation to where there are signs and red flags showing you that you shouldn't be in that relationship anymore. Here are 3 telltale signs of when a relationship should end, in my personal opinion. Number 1, you're not happy. One thing that I'll always preach to anybody who seeks relationship advice from me, one of the most important things in a relationship is your happiness. You have to put your happiness above a lot of things. Your happiness has to be the highest priority when it comes to a relationship. One reason why a lot of relationships fail is because people get into relationships because they're not happy and they depend on that other person to make them happy. And what happens when you depend on somebody or you depend on some outside force to make you happy? That outside force has the power to take that happiness away from you. Now you're just left looking stupid, looking foolish, and unhappy. So you never want to be in that situation. Not to be selfish or not to sound selfish, but that's kind of how you have to be. If you can't compromise with the person that you want to be in a relationship with to where your happiness is paramount to you and their happiness is paramount to them, and you can come together and that can actually work out. If you can't be in a situation like that, you don't need to be in a relationship. Sorry, it's the truth. I mean, I know a lot of people don't want to hear stuff like that, but it's the truth. Because what happens is a lot of times people say that they're happy within themselves, but they're really not. They don't want to come to terms with the fact that they're not happy. They don't want to come to terms with the fact that they have to deal with an internal problem that's making them unhappy so that they can become happy once they deal with it. They don't want to do that. Understand that your happiness has to be top priority. If it's not internal, it's not going to last long. The number 2 reason, everything in life takes a backseat to that other person. Now, I know what you're thinking when you hear that. You might be saying, isn't that what you're supposed to do? You're supposed to help the other person out when they need it? Yes, you are, but not at the expense of your own success and not at the expense of your own drive and goals and things like that. Let me explain. A situation like this, you might be in a relationship with someone who doesn't want to work, doesn't want to be great, doesn't want to achieve, doesn't want to reach out and be the greatest version of themselves, and they want to be very conservative. They tend to be very stagnant. They tend to not get a lot of things done, and you're very driven and goal oriented, and for whatever reason they became that person. What happens is we all love the people that we're around, so we tend to help them, but when you help somebody enough, they get used to it and they expect you to help them, and when you don't help them, that becomes a problem. And in that whole time span of you helping that person, everything that you've wanted to do has taken a back seat to that person. And you don't want to do that. You have your own life to live. You have things that you want to do. You have things that you may want to accomplish. And one thing I know about trying to be a greater version of who you are is that you really have to be selfish sometimes when it comes to doing that. You can't take on multiple things at once. That's where a lot of people burn out. They try to do 5 things at once when they only have the energy source to do one thing. Not everybody can multitask. And even if you are good at multitasking, you may not be good at multitasking on a level to where you can take on 5 separate tasks at one time and do them all effectively. So definitely don't allow your life to take a backseat to this person who doesn't want to do much with theirs. And the number 3 reason, which I think is the most important reason, there's no trust in the relationship anymore. I can deal with a lot of bull. I can take a lot of stuff from people who I quote unquote care about. One thing I cannot stand and I will not stand is lying and a lack of trust. One lie becomes 2 lies, becomes 3, becomes 4, becomes 5, becomes a way of life, becomes the norm in the relationship. And once it becomes the norm, there's really no other option but to end the relationship, because once something becomes a norm, one or both sides get used to it. And once you get accustomed to it, you start to expect it. And when it's not there, just like in the last one, you get upset, and then that's where the problems happen. Obviously, the kingpin of all lies in relationship revolves around cheating, flirting, things like that. That's where all lies revolve around. Now, every relationship is different. It's not something I'm very keen on accepting. And usually when one side cheats, that's pretty much the end of the relationship. Because if you continue to be in a relationship with someone who's been outside of the relationship, there's always going to be that aspect in the back of your mind of this person could and most likely will do this thing again. Whenever there's a missed phone call, a text that hasn't been replied to in a while, you reach out and that person hasn't responded in a while. Whenever there's that element of time, you're always going to assume that this person is with somebody else who they probably shouldn't be with. Save yourself some trouble, some heartache, some pain, and just call it quits. There's always going to be somebody out there for everybody. So you don't have to stick around. You don't have to stay in a relationship that's literally breaking down in front of you. If you feel as though you need to call it quits, think about it, get some outside information on how you should go about it, and at the end of the day, you're gonna have to trust your own instincts and end it the way you feel you need to. So with that being said, man, I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. Make sure to follow me on Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, all of those social medias. Links gonna be in the description box. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and click the bell so you can be notified of all my videos. And with that being said, man, hope y'all enjoyed this video again. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and until next time, deuce.